Well, so this old beastie's been getting pretty warm in the transmission. I'm not quite sure why it's doing it. I'm getting a massive amount of heat coming through there, and it's actually getting that hot that it's put a burn on my leg. All right, so before I do any major surgery on this vehicle, I need to know exactly what it's doing. The boys over at Cheaper Auto Spares hooked me up with a Raceworks gauge. It's my temperature sensor there. I'm going to splice that into the hotline to the transmission cooler. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that just yet. So if the transmission is getting hot and it's not just crappy insulation through over that tunnel, I'll put a fan on that cooler, and I'll add another cooler on this side and fan force that and have that all running in series, parallel. I can't remember which way it's supposed to go. If that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to have problems in the transmission. Possibly the torque converter's not locking up properly. It's just slipping all the time, getting hot, or the transmission itself is on its way out, which wouldn't surprise me at all. This chassis, the transmission, it's got 500,000 Ks on it. I wouldn't be surprised. If this transmission is not great, it does have a couple of niggling little problems, then I do have another transmission that I know is good in this vehicle here. All right, so the sensor's in. It's on the hot side of the cooler. It's supposed to radiator cooling, but I don't think the radiator cooling is actually doing too much. Well, I made a blunder. That is not the right place to be putting the sensor. I actually thought that I was putting the sensor between the radiator cooling for the transmission, between the radiator and the external transmission cooler. Nah, I was wrong. I actually set it up on the output of the whole cooling system. Oh, no wonder the thing wasn't working. There is an upside to this though. The gauge did not register, didn't register any heat. Gauge reads from 60 degrees C up to whatever stupid temperatures I don't want to see. So the upshot is, having that incorrectly installed on the output of the cooling system, it has actually showed me that the temperature coming out of the cooling system is below 60 degrees C, and the gauge just wasn't registering anything. So I think that's a good thing. So the correct position for installation of the sensor is on the output from the transmission, between the transmission and the radiator. So that's what I've done, and that seems to be actually working fine. We'll have a look into that a little bit further shortly. Anyway, I changed it, and I've got a leak. Of course I've got a leak. I'll just have to get under there and sort out whatever's leaking there. It's obviously going to be where I've installed that sensor. This is my first look at where it's leaking, and it's definitely coming from around where I've made different connections. There's quite a bit of oil. Is that just stripped on the leg? Don't know. Oh. Fucked up somewhere. It's going to be a relatively easy fix to show you where it's leaking, and I know why it's leaking because I forgot to seal it properly. Okay, so that's the sensor on that line. It's actually leaking from the sensor into the T-fitting. Yeah, I forgot to put Teflon on that fitting, and it's leaking. Of course it's leaking because I didn't do what I should have done. I'll just pull that out, refit it, and we should be good. Alright, so I've got it out, and as per usual, I've covered myself in bloody transmission oil yet again. It's these two fittings I've got to put some Teflon on. That's where it's leaking from. Put the Teflon on that, and it won't leak anymore. I should have done it right the first time, but I didn't. So, just got to pay the price of covering oil yet again. That's our sensor. That thread needs Teflon on it, and we get this little adapter fitting out. If I do that without fucking it. It's coming out okay. And that thread needs Teflon on it too. A rookie mistake, but I wasn't feeling particularly well. I actually did this stuff just before I went into hospital. I was rushing, trying to get things done, and yeah, it doesn't pay off. I just fucked it up. There is Teflon on those two fittings, and they don't leak. Funny about that. But there we go, Teflon on both of them. Whack it back together and we should be laughing. Should do that, don't want to over tighten it. Make sure that's relatively clean. Screw that sensor in. I want to get the sensor down as far as I can so it gets into the oil flow. So it measures the temperature as accurately as I can get it to. It's about as far as I'm going to get it without stuffing it up. So if I can just get that another quarter of a turn. There we go. Well, there we have it. That should go back in now and not leak. Right, so I know this thing, as soon as I pull this apart, it's going to piss oil. So I'm going to try and do this as quick as I possibly can. And there we go, of course. If I get another finger in that, getting covered in the shit again. Shove that in there. Shove that in there. I've managed to cover myself in oil again. I just love this scenario. I'll turn the camera off. I'll put all the clips back on, and that's done, and that should not leak anymore. All right, that's another job done. It's all complete. That's not going to leak now. All right, so you might notice it stopped raining. It's been pissing down all day today. I've got a clean shirt on. It's not covered in oil. So I'm going to take this beastie out for a run, get it warmed up and see if this temperature gauge is actually working, see what it tells me. This is basically the crunch moment, see whether my transmission's okay or not. I hope it's okay and it's just insulation in the floor that's needing to be replaced. Okay, we're off. Everything seems to be driving okay. Gauge hasn't come up yet. We're only just a couple of minutes into it. There we go, the temperature gauge has just started moving. It's about 65 degrees at the moment. Let's see how that travels. Woohoo, the new bridge is open, sort of. It's only 40 k's an hour, but yeah, it's open. Last time I videoed this bridge, it was almost underwater and half built. And it's got the water coming up out there again. I don't know if you can see it or not. But yeah, good to have this bridge open. This roadworks have been going on for, I don't know, 18 months or something. Yeah, it's been a long time. There we go, the temperature gauge has just started moving. It's about 65 degrees at the moment. Let's see how that travels. Anyone who's not familiar with Townsville, I'm on the Strand at the moment. This is the Strand. Runs across basically the waterfront. Sort of picturesque area. It's not too bad. I don't mind it. Don't come down here much. All right, I am feeling a fair bit of heat coming up through the floor and through the tunnel around the transmission. But if we have a look at this, we're on 62 degrees. Not bad going, I reckon. All right, it's only come up to 70 degrees. I'm just sitting around 60 k's in sort of, urban sort of area, traffic lights, 60 kilometers an hour, stop start, a bit of acceleration, not a lot of torque converter lockup. So I expect it to be warm. It's sitting on 70 degrees even. Well, I'm happy with that so far. I'll just go and find my way up to the lookout. Temperatures are still pretty bloody good. All right, so we're climbing a fair bit and it's fairly steep, but temperatures are still looking good. Still 78 degrees. Okay, temperature has climbed to 88 degrees. I would have expected it to climb. There's no lockup, like there's no torque converter lockup or anything happening, so I would expect it to start getting a bit warm. I can feel a lot of heat coming up through the floor and the tunnel. So yeah, it's not too bad though. I think the heat that I'm feeling on my feet and legs
is disproportionate to what the actual temperatures are. Okay, it's just hit its highest temperature so far, and I've been sitting in second gear for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. It's come up towards 100. I think this is where a thermo fan would really come in handy. But I don't think it's a problem with the transmission, to be honest. Alright, so I've made it to the top. Just started idling down. Temperature's coming straight down again. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I do think a thermo fan's gonna be appropriate, especially for low speed, especially for when I'm, you know, when I'm full driving, low range. Definitely going to be a benefit. Save this transmission from getting too hot in those situations. But honestly, I don't think the transmission is a problem. The temperature's coming down. It's down to 90 now, so I reckon that's going to be pretty fine. Let's go and have a look at the views. Bad views up here. All right, back in the car, just after having a quick look at that. Been out the car 5 minutes. Temperature's come down to 70 degrees. It seems to be sitting all right. We'll see what it does. I'll start moving again and see what happens. So I'll get down off Castle Hill, and then I'll get on the highway, do some 100Ks, see what it does there. Some pretty specky views around the place. More places out there somewhere. So I'm only doing 20Ks down this hill. Temperature's dropping, so I'm happy with that. So I'm back off Castle Hill now. Temperature's really nice at 70 degrees. Super happy with that. I've just been running around town for probably 50 minutes. I'm heading up to the highway now. The amount of heat that is coming through the floor is excessive, yet the temperature is only 72 degrees. So I'm pretty confident it's not the transmission that's the problem. Probably can't see me. It's pretty dark. I'm on the freeway, or yeah, on the ring road. I'm doing about 95 Ks. Still sitting at 70 degrees. That's beautiful. I'm wrapped with that. All right, so we're at the end of the crew front. We're sitting at 80 degrees. It should come down shortly. We'll get this thing back in the shed and we'll check a few things out. Okay, so we're back in the shed. We've idled down. It's just over 70 degrees. What conclusions can I draw from this? I can conclude that the transmission is good. It doesn't get excessively hot. I can also conclude that it would benefit from a thermo fan on the transmission cooler in front of the radiator. That'd be a real big bonus, especially when you're doing, you know, low range stuff. Yeah, transmission is going to get hot when doing that. These transmission cooling systems on the 80 series, you know, they leave a bit to be desired when they're running real good. And this one's running about as good as they ever do. The heat that I'm experiencing at 100 Ks, we're about 72, 75 degrees on the gauge. And the amount of heat coming through the floor was excessive. So I'm just going to put that down to the fact that the insulation between the floor and me is crap. So that might be a job for some car builders, and we'll insulate all of that so I'm not cooking. So what do you reckon? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Me being me, I get tunnel vision, and maybe you've picked up on something that I haven't during this video. Yeah, if you've got a comment, something you think might be of benefit, then drop us a comment and let me know what you think. Have a good New Year, and hope you've had a great Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next one. Okay, bye. Come on, stay on there. Fuck yeah. Fuck's sake.